Hello everybody, my dear English-speaking followers, friends, clients and astrology lovers. Here is Olga Vasilchuk and I would like to talk today about the planetary transits for the third week of April, from April 16 until April 22, 2018. I was not able to present you the video for the previous week. That's why I will talk in the present video about the new moon that corresponds to the end of the current week. That corresponds to Sunday, April 15th. But before to talk about the new moon, I would like to give general remarks, a general observation about the second half of the month of April. Remember that during the first half of the month, we experienced a rather conflicting and disharmonious background caused by the tension between the planets in Capricorn in Aries, because they were forming squares. In the second half of the month, although the harmonization will be only partial and temporary, the tension will subside a little. By the middle of the month, the predominance of the element of Earth, Mars, Saturn, Pluto are in Capricorn, Venus is in Taurus, and the Sun will pass into Taurus on April 20th, can be manifested in greed, inaccessibility, intransigence, but also inconsistency and reliability in our behavior and in the behavior of other people. The lack of the air element in the transit chart can be compensated by in our strategies of behavior by planning of our activities in advance and by the controlled and conscious respect of the deadlines set in achieving the objectives. The Sun is in the sign of Aries until April 20th, where it fills us with the creative energy necessary for the development and for the quest for the new. It offers us new ideas and stimulating impulses, motivating us to formulate specific, concrete goals. On April 20th, the Sun will pass into the sign of Taurus, and this transit will allow us to become more reasonable, practical, and show a lot of perseverance in the way we act. There will be a desire to communicate with nature, and in relationships, stability and reliability will be appreciated. Now the third week of April, it will be very busy, tense time, but at the same time it will be the period of active work and struggle for our happiness. The days between April 17th and 21st, we will have the opportunity to solve many problems in our life, and this is the period of the emergence of promising new projects as well as of new professional collaborations. This time offers the opportunity to turn negative moments into positive factors. Mercury will stay in the sign of Aries all the month of April, giving activity, impulsiveness and fever to our way of thinking and communicating. We can show frankness, excessive impatience in exchanges with others. Please avoid excessive aggression, aggressiveness, and spontaneous reactions in communication. We should pay more attention to the position of the interlocutors and remember more often, which is difficult for Mercury in Aries, about important qualities such as tact and diplomacy. Mercury is in square with Saturn all month of April because it has been retrograde until the middle of the month, forming the square with Saturn, and when it will get direct, it will continue forming the square with Saturn. So this aspect will be the background aspect of the entire month. I talked about it in the previous video. In the absence of a clear purpose and without understanding our goals, we run the risk of encountering various difficulties and obstacles in communication. It will also be difficult for us to assimilate information. We will be able to understand and retain only what we really need in the future. Mental concentration, discipline of thought will be practical attitude to what we do. These things will be particularly important. And the excellent news of the week, of the month, on April 15th, Mercury becomes direct in the 4th degree of Aries. So Mercury turns into its direct movement, and we will be inspired, starting from this moment, to project our ideas to the surrounding world, but the ideas that have been reflected deep inside. This was what we were supposed to do during the retrograde phase of Mercury, to think, the introspection, to analysis of our plans, creation of new plans and projects, and now we can start implementing them in the real life. Mercury will gain its normal speed only after April 20th, which means that businesses, negotiations, travels will carry the problems of Mercury retrograde until April 20th. And another important thing is that Mercury's exit from the loop, from the part of the zodiacal arc that it crossed 3 times during the loop, will take place. This exit will take place only in the beginning of May. And from this moment, the spheres of life that are under the control of Mercury in your chart, check the house of the chart where the Mercury crossed 3 times during the loop. This sphere of your life will be totally updated only in the beginning of May, starting in the beginning of May. The same day, almost April 15th, we will live the new moon in Aries. Sunday, April 15th, 9:57 p.m. GMT-4 New York time. So in Europe, it will be in Europe. It will be morning, Monday morning. The end of the retrograde phase of Mercury, at the same time as the new moon. This will help us to make final conclusions, to draw final conclusions, to take radical decisions, and at the same time to consolidate and to approve new scenarios and plans that have been formulated recently. We will definitely say goodbye to some aspects of the past, putting an end to obsolete situations. We will have the feeling that we are relieving, we are getting rid, we are relieving ourselves of a burden of accumulated problems. And after the new moon, we will discover new ways and perspectives, but beware, what disappears from our lives during these days will go away forever. The end of the current week, so let's say April 14th until April 17th, this is the moment of major shift, beginning of a direct phase of Mercury and the new moon in Aries. What about the new moon? The new moon will leave a very strong impact of Uranus, because Uranus will be the part of the conjunction Sun-Moon. At the time of the new moon, we will also be in the orb of the conjunction of the opposition, Venus-Jupiter, which will be exact on April 17th. Mars, in its turn, is getting closer to the conjunction to the black moon Lilith. Okay, it will form the conjunction with this fictitious point very soon. Therefore, mid-April can bring completely unforeseen events of a demotivating and even severe nature. These planetary influences will hit not only the beginning of the lunar month, but they will also extend until mid-May, because in May we will have the conjunction of Lilith with the major, big aggressor Pluto, after its conjunction with the small or minor aggressor Mars during the present new moon. For this reason, we can assume that during the next 2 months, we should be ready for a difficult struggle, perhaps even dishonest. We should be ready for a lot of negativity. We can become a victim of rumors and gossips. Speaking of the new moon of April 16th, 15th, 16th, from the days from April 13th until 18th, these will be the most intense days, bringing cancellation of projects, surprises, open and uncompromising aggression or aggressiveness in ourselves that we may express towards others, and in other people's towards us. So as I mentioned, the aspect that is very close to the new moon, the opposition Venus-Jupiter, is exact on April 17th. This aspect stimulates the excessive fascination by the joys of life, by pleasures. There can be overestimated expenses, extravagance in the behavior, especially in the way we deal with the money, extravagance. Moderation in financial matters is important now. There will be a tendency to consume a lot of sweets, which consequence would be a weight gain, so be careful. In relationships, this aspect can lead to quarrels and conflicts caused by hurt self-esteem or by misunderstanding over financial issues. The same day, April 17th, Venus is in Trine with Pluto, and this aspect reinforces passion, the desire to possess, sexual needs, and the depth of feelings. It can be easy for us to eliminate psychological barriers. Romantic relationships can enter the phase of intimacy, and in creative activities it's time for inspiring and fruitful work. Very interesting aspect transit of the week is the conjunction Sun-Uranus in Aries on April 18th. The conjunction Sun-Uranus will inspire us to introduce novelty into everyday practical matters and to build relationships on the principles based on the principles of fraternity and equality. It's a time of turmoil, of unexpected turns in scenarios when things go against our plans and expectations. Will this turn be positive or negative? It depends on your personal predictions and also on how you normally welcome changes. In any case, we should be open to new ideas, unexpected contacts, encounters with unusual, extraordinary, not ordinary, conventional people is possible. And some of us could be destabilized, but you have a lot of earth and water element, big percentage of water and earth element in your chart. You used to be destabilized by the energy of this conjunction, because Uranus is the ruler of Aquarius, the revolutionary air sign. So some of us can be put out of the circuit, as we say, by the events. Since this conjunction doesn't have a harmonious aspect like trine or sextile with other planets, at this moment, certain individuals may show unacceptable or even shocking initiatives that can be look like insulting even to some other people or even to the society. The growth of extremism, terrorist and terrorist acts are possible. The growth is possible, and the rate of accident also increases during the conjunction Sun-Uranus. But once again, don't panic. Check your personal chart if this conjunction touches the planets of your personal chart. This week we have the beginning of the retrograde phase of two social planets. On April 17th, Saturn becomes retrograde in the 9th degree of Capricorn. So Saturn will begin its annual retrograde phase. I will talk about it in a separate video very, very soon. So during this period, we will see emergence of all the problems in personal and social public life that were unsolved, unresolved before, so far. Life will teach us through difficult situations and even through suffering to be aware of our mistakes and imperfections, and life will teach us to overcome the difficulties that they have caused, the difficulties that are caused by our imperfections and mistakes. We will reap what we have sown. This is the principle of Saturn, right? During this time, the period of Saturn retrograde, it's important that each person tries to give back all debts accumulated earlier, especially in the last year. When we talk about giving back debts, to pay our debts in literal and figurative sense of word. Also on the 22nd of April, Pluto becomes retrograde in the 21st degree of Capricorn, and Pluto will begin its, is similar as Saturn, will begin its annual retrograde movement, which will transform the deep identity of people, our deep identity, confronting us with the imperfections of the past and making us aware of the darkest sides of our personalities, making us finally eradicate them, because this is the final goal of the work of Pluto, especially Pluto retrograde, to eradicate the darkest sides of our personality. And once again, here also I will prepare a separate video on the subject. I remind you that Mars is in Capricorn during the entire month of April, and this position promotes energetic and active activities. Because Mars in Capricorn is in a very strong position, so Capricorn's energy helps to achieve concrete, practical results and outcome. I just remind you that Jupiter is retrograde the entire week, the entire month. And Jupiter can somehow Jupiter retrograde can somehow slow down the processes of significant social growth and spiritual development, redirecting our consciousness in search of opportunities for this growth in our inner world. The impact of the retrograde phases of the social planets is not as strong and visible as the retrograde movement of the personal planets, Mercury, Venus, and Mars. But nevertheless, during retrograde phase of Jupiter, we should not expect too many changes in career or in our social status. But people with the Jupiter retrograde in their birth chart, on the contrary, can meet new opportunities and they can have a lot of social success. And the last remark that I already talked about the last time, we're getting closer to the middle point of between two eclipses, the past eclipses of of winter 2018 and the future eclipses of summer 2018. On the 1st of April, the transit sun formed the sextile to the point of eclipse of the lunar eclipse of the 31st of January. And on the 16th of April, almost at the same day as the new moon and the beginning of the direct phase of Mercury, this transit sun will form a sextile to the point of the solar eclipse in Leo in Aquarius on February 15th, and it's logical that it will be the trine to the future solar eclipse in Leo in August 2018. So these 2 weeks, and we still have the chance to use this harmonious transit of the sun towards the point of the eclipses, will be the moment. This is now the moment that we live, when we will be able to solve, or at least to soften, the conflicts and difficult situation that was caused by the eclipses of winter. The situation will refer to the themes of the houses of your chart where the eclipses were projected. So these energies will be, in the circumstances, will be favorable to the constructive resolution of these questions. So get advantage of this. Like, we have a couple of days left, because in 2 weeks, the new moon of April 29th and the full moon of 15th of May, they will. The full moon of April 29th and the new moon of 15th of May, they will form the squares to the point of the eclipses of winter and of summer 2018, and this will be very conflictual, difficult period of 2 weeks. So now we have a harmonious transit, so try to bring some harmony to this, to your personal situation that was activated by the eclipses of winter of this year. So this is what I wanted to share with you today. I wish you a wonderful week, happy new moon, Stay wise, use the astrology, the astrological knowledge and advices to your advantage to to improve your life. And thank you for your time, for your attention, and I will talk to you very, very soon the next week. Goodbye.